Hello, I'm Ben Pollard here at the Lewis and Clark State Historic Site. Today I want to talk some more about the team building going on here in camp. Lewis and Clark are looking for the right skills amongst the soldiers that are going to help them get from here to the Pacific Coast and back. But they're also looking for the right attitudes and personalities. They need to make sure that everyone can work together. And I bring this up because there are some points here in camp where who's in charge and who's obeying orders is in question. There's multiple disputes when Lewis and Clark are out at camp here over the winter. Sergeant Ordway, the most senior person outside of the captains, is left in charge of the camp, but some of the soldiers refuse to follow his orders. Some of them refuse to mount guard. Others are spreading dissent amongst the other soldiers. In fact, John Coulter even loads a musket and threatens to shoot his commanding officer because he doesn't want to follow Ordway's orders. Those are a few different interactions, all in one that I'm describing. But Lewis and Clark, when they find this out, are livid. If we can't trust them to follow the chain of command here in camp, how are we supposed to trust it out on the expedition? So they actually have a court-martial for Fraser, Coulter, and Shields for their actions against Sergeant Ordway. And over this court-martial, Fraser is let go. Apparently what he did was not so bad. And Coulter and Shields actually apologize and promise to do better. That's a quote. They promise to do better, and they promise it won't happen again. Now, Coulter is quite the hunter. He becomes a famous mountain man after this expedition. And John Shields is a blacksmith. So they have very special skills for this trip that probably helps smooth the way for them to get back in the captain's good graces. Both men will get to go on the expedition. But this does bring up the point that you're looking at who's here in camp, and if you can trust them to do what they're supposed to along the way. To that point, you may have heard in sports and in other places the saying addition through subtraction. That is, you get rid of a player from a team who's toxic and causing fights amongst the team, ruining their focus. As soon as they're gone, the team is better, even though that person is gone. Because everything else just moves a lot better, everyone else can be relied on a little bit more. There's some addition through subtraction here at Camp River Dubois as well. Some of the soldiers from Fort Southwest Point in Tennessee were told by the Secretary of War Dearborn to meet with Captain Lewis here at Camp River Dubois. The captain there, since Lewis and Clark aren't there to oversee the people they're selecting, he sent some of his less desirables to go on this trip. Towards that end, many of them are not up to it. Captain Clark finds that the men are wanting, that they don't have the right skills. Some of them will get to go on this trip. In fact, Corporal Warfington will be in charge of commanding the keelboat on the way back down river. Some of these other soldiers, though, are sent back. They're not worth it. They're supposed to go back to their fort and continue to serve there. Maybe the most important cut that we don't have a lot of details on is that of Private Leakins. On February 4th of 1804, Private Leakins is caught stealing items from the supply, and he's fired immediately with a small correction. That means he's punished a little bit and then kicked out of camp. Now look at this. We had a soldier shoot or threaten to shoot at his commanding officer. We had guys that were refusing to go on guard duty. We had other folks causing fighting in camp or sneaking out to get drunk. These are all things that Captain Clark and Captain Lewis think that they can deal with. On the other side, theft is something they cannot stand. Because if you're getting paid on time, if you're getting fed on time, you're in a warm camp here where there's hard work, but there's not the risks of the expedition, and you're going to steal from the camp, how are you supposed to trust this guy out west on the expedition when the other soldiers and the supplies that you have are the only things that you can rely on? And so Private Leakins is cut. That sends a message to the other men, don't steal, because we take this very seriously. And I'm sure the other soldiers appreciated it. If Leakins is going to steal from them here, they might want to check their own bags and check their own food supplies on the trip if he were to come along. So we have the Southwest Point guys. Some other soldiers that are recruited don't make the cut. Leakins, maybe most famously, is cut for really betraying everyone's trust here in camp. The other soldiers have some disciplinary issues, but the captains think they can deal with it, and they have very few disciplinary issues on the expedition. So it looks like sorting out the attitudes and disciplinary problems here in camp really pay off on the expedition. I want to thank you for watching today. You can check out more of our videos on YouTube and Facebook, and I hope that you'll check us out at campdubois.com as well. Thank you very much.